Are we live? I think we're live. All right, here we go. Hey guys, welcome to We Love Comics and our internet show, Chasing the Grail. We're always out there looking for the greatest books to review for your pleasure. I have a special guest today with me, Mr. Jeff Wong, also known as the Cantonese Comic Kid. How you doing, Jeff?
Not bad, not bad. I had a great day today. We actually went to a little con today, and I actually picked up some cool stuff.
Right on, yeah. Right on. Yes, we had a small convention in Brandon. Brandon's on the outskirts of the city of Tampa Bay. If you have ever been out here, we've got a great comic store in Brandon and Ybor City, who was throwing the convention. It was Ybor City Comics and Read More Comics.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys, Scott and Dave. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for making the comic book community here in the Tampa Bay area so much more pleasurable with your shows and your comics.
Yeah.
You guys are just fantastic. So what do we have today, Jeff?
We actually have Death Dealer 1. We're actually reviewing it with I'm revealing it with Tim.
Oh, that's me. Yeah, right. I'm Tim with We Love Comics.
Yeah,
there
We Love Comics. Yeah.
I know there's another internet site and another YouTube page that's We Love Comics, and I'm sure they do. I'm glad that they love comics, but this is my store, and this is our page, Chasing the Grail. Don't get those confused. So we've got Death Dealer. Death Dealer is a character based on an old FrankFrazetta painting. Is that correct?
Yep, FrankFrazetta painting, and then it's actually. There was actually in the 90s. Tim can attest to this. In the 90s, there was a little book with.
Was it Image?
It was Image, and then there was a erotic edition one.
Ah, yes, Verotic. Yeah, Verotic did Death Dealer too. So there's been many attempts at bringing the Death Dealer to life.
Right, bringing the how Sara Frazetta wanted to do was bringing the Frazetta verse to life.
Sara Frazetta, you mentioned her name. Who is she exactly?
She is FrankFrazetta's granddaughter. FrankFrazetta's granddaughter. It's actually it's actually his daughter's. One of his daughter's daughters. It's actually Holly's daughter.
So. Okay, so FrankFrazetta's daughter is Holly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Sara Frazetta is Holly's daughter,
right,
which makes her the granddaughter of the FrankFrazetta, the creator of Death Dealer. And this is the new comic, Death Dealer, from Opus.
Yep.
Right? This is the new #1. This is cover A of the great, fantastic early image of the Death Dealer sitting on his horse.
And this one is actually Death Dealer 1.
Death Dealer 1.
Death Dealer 1. And then what I heard at I went to the museum late, and that's this one Holly actually has in her collection in the main paint collection. So
and that's Death Dealer 2.
So that's the issue #2, issue 2, and it's painting 2. So that's another one that's actually in Holly's collection. This one is actually in Heidi's collection, and so it's in Sarah's aunt's collection.
Okay, so Heidi is her mom's sister?
Yep.
Okay, understood. So now we know where the painting came from and where it now exists. And now we're going to talk about this wonderful comic book that Opus is putting out with Iverson, Martino, Delgado, and Pascal.
Yeah.
Or is it Bascley?
Pascal.
I'm going to go with Pascal.
We always mix
Shout out, please. Make a comment down below. Tell us if we're saying these things right, because we don't know.
Yeah,
we just love comics.
Yeah, we love comics.
We don't know names.
Around, so we really don't know sometimes. We're big nerds.
So why were you so interested in this particular book, Death Dealer?
Death Dealer. I grew up with Death Dealer. I mean, I think I saw him. I think I saw him on the Molly Hatchet record.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember seeing the Molly Hatchet record when I was younger.
As did I.
Yeah, and I believe that's how I got introduced to him. I actually don't remember when I got introduced to him, honestly, but I think it was I honestly think it was like a Molly Hatchet record or something like that, I believe.
I remember there were some sci-fi novelizations, and I believe I remember seeing some of Frazetta's artwork on these novels, and it made me inquire about, who is this guy and this fantastic fantasy artist.
Right.
And I started looking into, of course, there was no internet back then.
You're right.
See, we had to actually do some gumshoeing, some detective work. We had to go out and try to discover this on our own, going to libraries and bookstores and things of that nature to find out who these incredible people are Frank Frazetta, one of the greatest fantasy artists of all time, if not the greatest.
How Sarah always says, he's the godfather of
the Godfather.
Yeah, the godfather of fantasy art.
Of fantasy art. There you go.
Right.
Who Ken Kelly was a student of.
Yeah, Ken Kelly's actually related to. If a lot of you guys don't know, Ken Kelly was actually related to Frazetta. Was actually Ellie Frazetta's cousin. So they were actually related.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was unaware that they were actually related. And you could definitely see the inspiration between the two, the student and the master,
right.
of course. Of course, Ken Kelly becoming a master in his own right. And I believe we just lost Ken this year.
Yep, we lost Ken. We lost Ken Kelly this year.
So the greats are fading away. You know, as you get older, you've got more years behind you than you do ahead of you, and you start losing all those people that inspired you to become who you were.
Yep.
Who you are as an adult. It's amazing how some of these simple pieces of artwork can really reach out and get you involved as either an artist yourself or a fantasy admirer.
Yep.
Where you want to hang these posters on your wall and or read comic books, like this first issue of Opus's Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer. So, Jeff, ask me what I think about the book.
What did you think?
Good book. I just read it. We were going to shoot this today, and I was like, you know what? I have these issues in my collection, but I hadn't gotten a chance to read it, opening a whole new comic book store and all. So here I am for the first time reading the first issue. I enjoyed the first issue. There seems to be a very unique take on the character.
Yeah.
For example, no spoilers. If you want to skip ahead to some number, you can, but I don't know the number, and I really don't know, or do I care. But there seems to be some influence here with the individual whose name is Kerr.
Yep, it's a
okay.
Kerr.
And he's wearing a helmet which seems to be possessed by some other spirit.
Yeah, some other spirit. And then if you guys really like the Venom movie, it feels a little like that.
Like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. It feels a little like that. It feels a little like that. So I think it's an enjoyable story. I enjoyed it. I don't know if Tim really.
I did. I truly enjoyed it. It definitely makes me want to read more. And Jeff did bring the other issues here. I mean, we do have issue number 2, which is the Death Dealer 2, the actual painting.
And I actually got to see it in February, this past February, in the Frazetta Art Gallery Museum at Boca Grande.
And then, of course, we've got Death Dealer 3.
Yep.
Which is a beautiful cover here as well.
Yep, it's another Frank Frazetta cover.
Now, this one was this was just a cover that he did, or was this actually was it a full?
There's actually, I believe Sarah had said there was four actual Death Dealer paintings. So this is the third one. There's actually 4, I believe.
Now here's issue 4, which I found fascinating because the cover of 4 is actually a panel in issue 1.
Yep.
This is where Kerr meets this young lady for the first time out in the wilderness, and he saves her from this pack of wolves.
Right. And then I believe the female's name is Amber.
Is it Amber?
Amber or something like that.
That would make sense since she's redheaded.
Yeah. And then the child's name is I always get the child's name mixed up, but I believe it's. I forget sometimes if it don't.
That's okay.
If it don't got a butt and boobs, I forget it sometimes.
Well, that's one way to put it. There you go. And then we've got issue 5, which seems to be like a one-off because this one actually has a front, which just looks like a bunch of waves.
But it is not. It is actually Sea Witch, and it's actually the actual cover appearance of Sea Witch was actually eerie. I forget the issue, but it was actually an issue of Eerie was her cover appearance. But this is her actual. What would you say? It is her first cover appearance was in 1966 in the Eerie. But this is her. What would it be?
This is the first full story about her.
Yeah.
She's included in a storyline in this particular issue. The other one was just a cover, right?
Right
on. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we've got issue 6, which is the current issue.
Right.
And is this actually a Frazetta painting as well?
Yes, it is actually a Frazetta painting. It's actually called The Sorcerer.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually Eerie number 2. And then this one is actually well, his cover appearance was 1960. Like I said, Eerie #2 was 1966. So this is actually his first full appearance in a comic book. So
Okay, right on.
yeah,
So I noticed we've got some writers here. We got Iverson,
yeah.
and then, excuse me, is it Marecki?
But yeah, so he is. So there was a couple of different people writing their one shots, and then it should go back. Issue 7 should be going right back to Iverson again, I believe.
Groenbeck
Yeah.
for this particular issue.
Yep.
For the Sea Witch, excuse me.
So different people were writing it. So it's actually, like I said, it's actually a great story. If you guys like sword and sorcery, if you're a Frazetta fan in general, you're gonna like this because they're trying to build out the Frazetta verse. Honestly,
The Frazetta verse.
yeah, they're trying to build it out. So there's gonna be a bunch of stuff coming at the. What is it? There is going to be Fire and Ice coming from Dynamite Comics.
The same Fire and Ice that was an actual movie back in the 80s?
Yep, and there's they're in talks right now with Dynamite, and they're going to actually release some comic books.
Did we hear it here first? Was this an exclusive?
Maybe.
Now, how would you know this, Jeff? How would you know?
Well, I'm close friends with Sara Frazetta, so guys, I'm really close with Sara.
As a matter of fact, you can check out one of Jeff's videos on YouTube as the Cantonese Comic Kid, where he interviews Sara herself.
Yeah, where I actually interviewed Sara herself on my birthday, and it's actually a birthday interview. And I had I had my friend Joe Doyle join us, and then I interviewed her because it's actually kind of cool because I'm a big Vampy fan, and I've always loved. Vampy 1. That was one of my favorite covers that he's ever done.
Now, Joe Doyle, he's actually a YouTuber as well, right?
He's an actual artist. He's actually an actual artist, and he doesn't do YouTube much, but he's an actual artist that actually, it's actually a Tampa Bay area artist that actually actually doing artwork now.
Oh, okay. So he's an artist. Didn't you say he was going to do a cover for Death Dealer?
He actually did a cover for Death Dealer. He actually did cover the first appearance of. Yeah, she actually did cover, I think 5. It's actually not here. It's actually in the car. But
okay.
He actually did the cover, and he actually did just same thing like Frank did. He actually did it on Masonite. He actually asked me what Frank used to paint on, and I actually explained to him what he actually painted on was Masonite because Sara had told us a story about how he used to like. Painting on that material.
You would use different bases, right?
Yeah, he would use
canvas,
board, Masonite. He was pretty much whatever he could get a hold of.
I got you.
Yeah, so he was pretty much.
So if he found a piece of tree bark out in the backyard and he just thought it was interesting, he would go and grab a paintbrush and paint on the tree bark and just create something on a piece of nature.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, never know.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
You never know. Some of these artists find inspirations in very unique places.
Yep.
So I can only imagine what the man was thinking about when he created the Death Dealer himself.
Right.
Because the character is being fleshed out pretty well in this storyline.
Yep.
Kerr, the individual who is wearing the Death Dealer helmet
yep.
and wields the Death Dealer axe,
right.
Is definitely his own individual, and he is somehow subservient to the helmet in which he wears. He's not allowed to remove it.
Nope. Yep. And
even when he is intimate with a female.
Yeah. So if
for adults only.
For adults only. Yeah. Yeah. NC-17 if you want to say.
NC-17, absolutely. Not just for the violence.
Yeah.
But for the sexuality.
Yeah.
Yes. Very interesting. It doesn't spare no punches. It really doesn't. It jumps right into the action at the very beginning of the book. And it leaves us on a cliffhanger where he returns to where he had brought the young lady and baby to safety after foraging for some food and engaging in 2 large crocodiles.
Yeah.
Yes, where he almost met his death, where he was asked by his helmet to say my name.
Yeah, Death Dealer. That's what it was.
Now, when he says the name, does it give him mystical powers?
I believe so. It looks like it. It looks like it, and it takes if you spoiler guys, if we read issue 1, it seems like it takes a piece of his soul every time he says Death Dealer. So that's kind of interesting. That's a kind of an interesting take. So I'm curious how far it's gonna go before.
That's like Shazam.
Yeah.
Which actually has Black Adam coming out today. So go see Black Adam in the theaters. I hear it's a mixed bag.
Yeah.
So he says he's hearing good reviews. I've heard nothing but negative reviews here in my store. We Love Comics. It's similar where you have to say the name to empower him with the helmet of the Death Dealer.
Yeah. So it feels a little Shazam-ish. It feels a little Venom-ish. If you're a Marvel guy, if you're a DC guy, it feels Shazam.
So we get to the final page and we notice that the female and the little baby is missing, and there's nothing but pools of blood on the floors of the cave, and the Death Dealer is aware of who it may be who has kidnapped this female and child from his life that he just recently saved.
Yep.
And who might that character be? Well, you're going to have to tune in next week to find out, because we're only doing issue 1 today. We may revisit this particular book again in the future, but for now, this is all we've got for you. So we're going to go ahead and say goodbye. Say goodbye, Jeff.
See you guys later.
Absolutely. Thank you for chasing the Grail with us. And come on down to We Love Comics, where we have comics of every size and shape and color that you can possibly imagine, because we truly do love comics, don't we, Jeff?
Yes, we do.
And maybe we can get Sarah to come in and do a signing in the store.
Maybe. I'll hit her up. Please and thank you.
Until then, guys, check in with us next week for another episode of Chasing the Grail. Take care. Going for the button. Wah!